welcome to MBTV. I'm your host Reena Gaurav. Today we are honored to have a distinguished guest who truly needs no introduction. He is the visionary who has not only transformed the skyline of Mumbai but also its geography, both literally and metaphorically. Please welcome Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, founder and chairman of Hiranandani Group. A very warm welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you on MBTV.
My pleasure.
My first question to you is about brand Hiranandani. If we talk about Niranjan Hiranandani, today it needs no introduction. So we would like to know, as a kid, what inspired you to be in a business of real estate when nobody was thinking about it, no big shots were thinking about it, how that small idea, small seed came in your thought?
I never thought of becoming into real estate ever. My father was a doctor, a ENT specialist, Padma Bhushan, a very famous surgeon, and my elder brother was a doctor. And I decided I wouldn't be a doctor because there's too hard work to become a doctor. That's what I believed. And so I took up commerce and I did my BCom. My father and a friend of his, Mr. Nani Palkiwala, persuaded me to do CA. So I did my CA. And but I had decided that the clients of my father, they were leading businessmen in Mumbai. The Birlas, the Tatas, Mafatlals, and I looked up to them. They were in the world of business. So I did business and I interned in Gwalior Rayon and Century Mills during my BCom. So I actually started a small textile unit, a weaving unit, and then dabbled a little bit into real estate, doing badly in both. And ultimately I had to sell one. Which one should I sell? My real estate or should I sell my textiles thing? I got a letter from the union saying we want 100% increase in wages. I said, are you sure there's no mistake of a 10% increase? But those were the days of Datta Samant in Mumbai, the union leader. So he was asking for 100% increase in wages. That decided. So I sold off my textile unit, small one, and got into real estate in a full way. No looking back, I had to make it successful. My father was very successful professionally. My brother was successful professionally. And I had to make a success of it. So full-fledged into real estate and hopefully some success.
Can you take us back to your first project in real estate? Where was it? Did you ever get a chance to go back and visit that first project of yours, that first brick that you decided when you entered real estate?
So yes, that was in Malad, and we do it. I don't like to go back to it for the simple reason that the quality of work that I did that time and the quality of work that I do now is so different. Of course, people found it was a good quality in those days, considering the days and times. But I think we have moved up the value chain so much that it's always going to be a problem. Let me tell you a story. I'll just to give you an idea about what is before and subsequent. When I made Powai, the first round of buildings, one person came there who had just moved into the apartment in the first buildings in Powai. And he was so happy, my God, Mr. Hiranandani, Niranjan, how sweet of you, wonderful, he came and touched my feet. मैं तो समझता नहीं था कि इतने अच्छे बिल्डिंग मुझे आप दोगे, मेरे फैमिली भी बहुत खुश है, सब कुछ है, वाह 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 वाह. I meet the same guy after 10 years, Mr. Hiranandani. I'm not happy.
Okay.
I said, क्या हुआ? कोई प्रॉब्लम है बिल्डिंग का? लीकेज है? लिफ्ट का प्रॉब्लम है? और कुछ ठीक नहीं है? नहीं, सब ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है, वो भी ठीक है. तो फिर निंदा किसकी? नाराजगी किसकी? So he tells me, I've seen your new building which has just been delivered, and that new building is so pretty as compared to my building which you made 10 years ago in Powai. So forget my first building, even the period of 10 years, you keep on upgrading the quality of buildings that you're making. And he was unhappy. So उसको तसल्ली दिलाने के लिए मैंने कुछ कह दिया. I told him that after 10 years, the person whom I'm giving the building now, of whom you're feeling jealous, will again feel jealous that the next 10 years I made a still better building.
Yes.
So the idea is we keep on improving the quality of the work that we do as we learn, as we experience and improve that part of it. So at that day and time, it's the best building. But obviously, after a few years, you have learned to do new things, better things, improve things and all that. So the secret is really to keep on improving all your life.
Yes, when you talk about keep on improving all your life, but then when you look, when we look back at what you have done in real estate industry, so we see that you're the pioneer for bringing that mixed use township idea in India. Then we also see that today people are talking about sustainable projects and certification, which proves yes that the project is sustainable. But आपने उस time पर किया जब कोई भी सोच नहीं रहा था इस बारे में. So how are you thinking way ahead of time? What was the mantra for that?
I think we had two things in mind. One, we traveled, so we saw what was happening worldwide, and we never copied anything, but we took ideas from people. So if something was done well in Singapore, we would have a look at it. Something was done better in China, we'd copy it, or actually pick up the examples of how to do it. We never actually super copied something and said, "ये ऐसे बना है तो हमें ऐसे बनाना है." No, we always kind of picked up the idea but improved on it. Second, I was born in a place at Malabar Hill where my father lived. And that was considered to be the poshest area in Mumbai at that time. I always said that though we are doing it Powai, which is much lower cost and lower thing, I wanted to make buildings there or anything that I did there, which was better than Malabar Hill, which was a class apart and unbelievable. So the buildings I made were better than the buildings we have in Malabar Hill. The school that I built was better than the Campion school that I studied in South Bombay, which is very beautiful. My father went to three very big hospitals in Bombay, the Breach Candy, Jaslok, Bombay Hospital. I decided that I would make a hospital in his name and his memory, which would be better than all the three hospitals put together.
Wow.
So what happened is that we continuously thought of innovation. So that was one, and quality. The second thing we did was really to say, how can I improve the quality of life for people who live there? So we made gardens. That's why the project is called Hiranandani Gardens. We made huge amount of gardens, planted a lot of trees. But we did something in those days, which is 30 years ago, 29 years ago, where we made a sewage recycling plant in the whole place, which is 4 million liters per day. Sewage is recycled. This was unbelievable because the whole city of Mumbai till today doesn't recycle 8 million. Now they're going to do millions under a Supreme Court directive. But having said that, we did it 30 years ago.
Yes.
So we created a sustainability in terms of green environment. Then we made 2 platinum rated green commercial buildings, which was the first in Mumbai. And the BG House and the Crystal House, which is the Standard and Poor building. Both of them are platinum rated green buildings, sustainability as you called it. That was something which we kept on doing much earlier in the day. Now, a large number of builders, developers, and even governments want to do. But at my day and time, 35 years ago, nobody. So we did set a trend, which we did. But we kept on thinking of the people who would stay there, people who would work there and all. And of course, you mentioned about mixed-use townships. People find it very difficult to travel to work, especially in urban areas. We thought that if we can put the old Indian concept of Aage Dukaan, Piche Makan into walk to work idea. So you have beautiful buildings and you have beautiful offices. So we did that in Powai. And people said, "Oh my God, you shouldn't do such things because you're spoiling the residential environment." But it worked. And so we made what you call one of the earliest mixed-use townships in India of the size and scale that we did. And then we made the second one in Thane, which is the Hiranandani estate. And now we're making the third one, which is the the township in terms of uh, uh, Fortune City, Hiranandani Fortune City that we are making at Panvel. So all this we did, probably we were the earliest, that's all. But otherwise, lots of people are doing it now.
So there are many people who must be watching you right now. They would be liking to know कौन सा सही वक्त होता है, वो सही जगह जहाँ जब आप एंटर करें तो ऐसी आप एक लेगेसी बना सकें जो आपने बनाई है. बिकॉज इफ वी से निरंजन हीरानंदानी तो इट्स अ लेगेसी नाउ. एंड अगर बहुत सारे आज जनरेशन चेंज हुई है. Earlier there was a time when people were thinking about 9 to 5 job, कोई काम करना है, कोई नौकरी करनी है, सरकारी नौकरी करनी है. But now the thought process has changed a lot in past couple of few years. So what advice would you like to give them?
India is already entrepreneurial. So I really don't need to advise the entrepreneurial people. Sometimes they teach me, not really I teach them. And a lot of things the new generation are doing in terms of innovation, but the opportunities are bigger today than they were in my day and time. So in terms of availability of funds, equity, debt funds by banks, financial institutions, IPO, FDI, listing, all these things are now available to you. So I think what we went through was very tough times, uneasy, very, very difficult to achieve what we did. Today, much easier because money is available and far more easy to get for a good project and for a person who is doing a good job. So I think for the new generation, I think if you keep up your commitments, if you are honest, and if you have the professional expertise to do the work that you have taken up, whether it's a building work or it's any other profession that you do, I think the youngsters must remember that you be a great professional and you have to constantly innovate, you have to constantly learn and be up to date. Earlier, if you had some gyan, some knowledge, you would be a leader for 10 years, 15 years. Not anymore. Today, if you're a leader, good leader, competition will come and hit you in 5 years if you don't innovate, if you don't do it. A younger person, a better person, a more funded person, a more cleverer person will come and beat you up or go ahead of you. But if you innovate, if you continuously learn, if you constantly do it and keep it customer centric, customer ko kya chahiye? What is it that does? I think the innovation and these aspects and opportunity available in India with the growth story of GDP growing at 7%, real estate growing at 12, 14%. I think what a future that you have for youngsters of today.
So if we talk about particularly real estate, how you see real estate in coming few years?
So real estate is 7% of GDP today. Niti Aayog says it will be 13 in next 5 years. I think it's 15. And with a higher total value of India, increase in the growth of GDP as a percentage of GDP, it means that real estate is going to grow tremendously in the next couple of years. Unbelievable growth. So, सबको घर चाहिए and अच्छा घर चाहिए, सुविधाएं सब चाहिए और उसके आसपास में सब माहौल अच्छा होना चाहिए, माहौल अच्छा होना चाहिए, सब कुछ चाहिए. So I think वो जमाना चेंज कर दिया कि भाई घर इज घर and a small hole in the wall is sufficient. नहीं, ऐसे नहीं चलता. अभी सब कुछ चाहिए. And that's a good thing for us. We should be able to give more to the customer. So fantastic future for India and for real estate.
But when we say घर सबको चाहिए और सब कुछ अच्छा चाहिए, डिमांड भी है, सप्लाई चाहे अभी उतनी नहीं हो रही है, बट प्राइस राइज भी बहुत ज़्यादा है इस टाइम पर. अगर एक इफ यू टॉक अबाउट अ कॉमन मैन, अ सैलरीड पर्सन विलिंग एंड विशिंग टू बाय अ हाउस, there was a time when people used to say घर एक बार बनता है. Today there are lot many people जो चाहते हैं घर खरीदना, but वो एक घर भी नहीं खरीद पा रहे हैं. So if we talk about affordability, so is our country moving in a right direction when we talk about affordable housing, especially in cities like Mumbai, NCR, Bengaluru?
Yes and no. Yes, because the number of houses have definitely grown. As you can see all the reports that are there, our growth in terms of number of housing units have gone between 7 and 20% growth everywhere. As far as the mid segment and the luxury segment, in the last 1.5 years, they have grown faster than affordable housing. But in my 40 years plus of my existence in real estate, affordable housing used to grow faster than mid-level and luxury. So two things have changed. One, India is growing richer. So there is a more number of middle class, upper middle class and rich than they used to be before. So a lot of people who are in the affordable segment have moved into the lower middle class, upper middle class and luxury. And they are willing to put in more money because they have more money.
Yeah.
Now we come to the affordable segment. In the last couple of years, two things have gone negative. First, interest rates. They had come down to 6.5%. They are now 8.5, 8.7%. That's the interest rate hike. Number two, the PMAY scheme, which gives an interest subsidy to the extent of 1.5% for the next 10 years, was finished last August. So there was no money left. The Prime Minister, in the first cabinet meeting on 3.0, when he became Prime Minister again, they passed the PMAY scheme for 1 crore houses in urban areas and 2 crore houses subsidy in the rural area. This thing is again going to bring affordable housing back. And once RBI decides to reduce interest rates, that will reduce the interest rate for home loans to this. Even if it's not reduced today, the EMI will be reduced over a period of time because it's all linked with interest rate. So I think affordable housing will also grow. So all the three segments will grow in the next couple of years. That is why we are saying that the percentage of GDP in housing is going to grow exponentially, and we do hope that affordable housing will also grow at the same pace as the other segments.
I hope you're aware that Magicbricks comes out with reports like Prop Index and HSI. So according to Prop Index report, if we talk about Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, then the micro markets that are really in demand are Worli, Lower Parel, Malad, Kandivali, Kharghar, Panvel. But here we would like to know from you, which are the micro markets in MMR that one can focus when they talk about investment?
There are three ways to look at it. The first way is, where would you like to live? Somebody would like to live in an area which is already developed. So in Gurgaon, certain areas are fully developed, and obviously they're going to be more expensive. Then there are areas which will be a little bit on the periphery, which will be a lower price. And the third may be Noida or Greater Noida as compared to what we are talking in Gurgaon, though I know certain parts of extension of Gurgaon area may be cheaper. But I'm just giving a differential to give an example. So all the three categories are there, but they're not going to be available at the same place. There will be certain rich areas which have been created in terms of infrastructure, in terms of amenities, in terms of facilities which will be available. The other segments will also grow, but they may not be in the same location. So you'll get housing for everybody, but it may not be South Delhi में मुझे चाहिए घर ये भाव में, वो नहीं होगा, वो हो भी नहीं सकता. लेकिन जैसे in the national capital region, will definitely get the housing. So I think that differential is coming. The challenge is, of course, how do you travel? How do you commute? How much time does it take to reach your work of place, and what can be done to improve it? So, for example, in Mumbai, we have 190 kilometers of suburban rail for the last 65 years. In next 2 to 3 years, we're going to add 300 kilometers of metro. How much?
300 kilometers.
300 kilometers of metro. So obviously, that's going to make a paradigm change. Like the Navi Mumbai airport at Panvel and Navi Mumbai, that's going to grow exponentially. Now, the airport is starting next year. The road connectivity is done through a bridge across the sea. So all this put together is going to create a boom in the market, but you get affordable housing in that area.
Yeah, because they're developing.
Because they're still not yet developed. Once it becomes developed, that too will become expensive. So that's the place to invest.
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about young generation. So we have a HSI report which says that right now the age group that's more focused on real estate and more keen on investing in real estate is Gen Z and millennials. So how do you see this demographic?
We see all the segments, to be honest with you. Different segments at different points of time have different aggression. But all the segments are now interested in it. The question is not of their interest. The question is their affordability. So if you're looking at the younger generation, obviously there is a challenge in the amount of money they can invest. So their locations will be different in terms of price point. The other segment, which is older, obviously you're going to find them capable of investing more money in terms of it and their availability of this thing. And they may have surplus money from the stock market or whatever it is they've earned. So all that is really fueling the market and creating the price rise that you have talked about. And it will continue to do so because the stock market is booming. So people are making so much money, you cannot imagine. The luxury segment is unbelievable.
Yeah.
People have made so much money on the stock market. They're looking at the best in the world. They don't want best in India.
Right.
They want best in India as compared to the world. And they're just willing to splurge money for their beautiful house. And I think it's happened more after COVID, where people have valued their homes and houses much more. And to some extent, youngsters who are working from home say, घर थोड़ा ज़्यादा अच्छा होना चाहिए. मैं तो घर से ही काम करता हूँ या कर रही हूँ.
राइट राइट बट यहाँ पर एक लॉन्ग डिबेट जो भी कुछ सालों में अचानक से शुरू हुई है वी कांट से अचानक से बिकॉज पीपल आर मोर फोकस्ड व्हाट दे आर गेटिंग बैक व्हेन दे आर इन्वेस्टिंग मनी when we talk about rent versus buy. So what is your take on it? Because in one of your interview I've heard you're saying that in coming years rent might become unaffordable.
So today's date, there is no social security in India. And I do believe that when you are younger and you have to stretch a little, you should buy a house. Two aspects of it make it more important. One is social security. But the second is home loans are the lowest ever. And because of low interest rates, low availability of home loans at a lower rate interest rate, banks are very willing to give you money for buying a home. One, which otherwise they won't give you. Ask somebody 20 lakhs, no bank will give you. But you say, I want to buy a home with a home loan for 20 lakhs, they're happy to give you.
Yes.
So that's one. Second, you get a tax deduction on interest on home loans, which is 2 lakhs of rupees. I'm hoping government will increase that for you. So that is the second thing which is beneficial. And second, it's a slow way to create an investment. I do believe that everyone who is should also invest into buying a house. Suppose his job is transferred to another city, you can still rent out your own house.
Right.
So you buy one house, whether you want it in Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore or wherever, whether you stay there or not, you can stay in another city because you've got a job there. But it's recommended, I strongly recommend that people should buy a house simply for social security in the future. Rents in good places where you're staying today may double, triple over a period of 10, 20 years. And then you'll find it difficult to afford to stay in the house where you are renting today.
Right.
Because you at an older age, you don't want to shift every morning.
Right.
I mean, every 2 years, shift your house and all that, which is okay at a younger age. I mean, if I'm 21 or 25 and I have to shift house every 2 years, it's fun, new place to go. But after you're 50, you don't want to shift. There's an inertia more than anything. Your friends are there, your relatives are there, or whatever it is. And then you have not got your own house there. You have to go some faraway place and live. I don't think it's recommended.
If we talk about past 4 decades, what is there in real estate that excites you a lot and what concerns you a lot?
I think what excites me is that every year I find something new in real estate. new in terms of construction, in terms of design, in terms of amenities, in terms of environment, in terms of trees, in terms of footpaths, in terms of amenities to be given to the people, in terms of finding locations, doing ancillary activities. We do a hotel, we run it. We have a school, we run it. We have a hospital, we run it. We have a supermarket and we run it. So, I mean, there's always something more to be done and all. My son does data centers, and so, there's so much new to be done every single day. I think the improvement in terms of what we do is even faster than women's fashions. You think your fashion is changing, but remember, real estate is changing even faster.
Okay.
So if you're not updated yourself with what is happening in real estate, you're out of date. You won't look so good. So we have to keep upgrading ourselves, improving ourselves, seeing how we can really do better, and every aspect of it. I mean, not just the product, but even marketing. We do so much through different means, social media, other things, which 10 years ago didn't exist.
Right.
So I think all these aspects of it are new in terms of what we do, and we keep updating ourselves of the latest which are there.
So are there any concern points?
Concern every morning. There is something to be taken care of. There are internal problems where you have people problems, where you have different people and whatnot. There are market problems because the market has gone up or gone down. There are international repercussion problems where you may have a Israel war, Jerusalem war, and then you have the oil prices shooting up to unbelievable rates, so it affects your country. Interest rate hikes. So there are internal factors, your own capabilities internally, and there are external headwinds which affect you. Everything affects you. It's nothing that doesn't affect you. The only thing is, how do you ride those issues is more important. And we've ridden it for 40 years, hope to God, and we are blessed by Him that we'll continue to do so.
So what are the future strategies of the group? And if we talk about Delhi NCR, can we see a Hiranandani township in Delhi NCR in near future?
We haven't planned any township, but we put a data center in Greater Noida. So that has already come. We're looking at some things, but just now we have 2,000 acres of land development off and on, which many of them we have not even started in Western and Southern India. So just now we are pretty busy, but maybe in the future, yes.
So last question to you, Mr. Hiranandani, to the people who are listening to you right now and who are wanting to start their future in real estate, what advice would you like to give them?
Go for it. India is growing. रोटी कपड़ा मकान, जब तक सबको मकान नहीं मिलते तब तक आपके बिजनेस चलते रहेंगे. जो रोटी का काम करते हैं उनका भी कभी पूरा नहीं होता. रोटी कपड़ा मकान इज द नीड ऑफ एवरीबॉडी. सो आई थिंक मकान तो सेक्टर है. कौन से सेक्टर मकान में करना है वो आपके ऊपर है. प्लॉट्स करना है, विलास करने हैं, मल्टी स्टोरेज करना है, कमर्शियल करना है, रिटेल करना है, डेटा सेंटर करना है, वो अलग अलग है. बट real estate is a very, very growing thing. Jump for it.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you, sir.